Greetings. This is my speech a few years back at the Cleveland Clinic and Foundation for Sarcoidosis Research annual meeting. I was a guest speaker. It tells my story from beginning to during that time. Um, I hope you will get a gist of what it's like to be living in a rare diseased body. Also, at the very end of this video, you will be seeing pictures of my parents who was instrumental in saving my life.
Good morning, everyone. I have to apologize for being late, but it was not under my control. My name is Regina Gordon. I am a mother of two. My daughters are 38 and 32, come from a family of six. My mother is here with me. Hi, Mom. And she has been my staunch supporter. I just want to read you my story, what I've been going through since 1994. I was diagnosed in 1994 at a time where there wasn't much information about sarcoid. Prior to my diagnosis, I have visited many doctors, and all they could tell me is that, oh, you have asthma or you have allergies, and they mainly just couldn't find anything wrong. I was miserable and was continuing to feel very ill, and during this time, I had lost so much weight. I had a constant cough and was always congested. I'm still congested to this day. One day I felt really, really ill, and I called my parents up and told them, I think I'm dying. They came, rushed me over, took me to the hospital, and the nurse looked at me and said, "You have pneumonia." I'm like, wow, maybe that was the reason for all of my weight loss. And then when I looked at the nurse, she looked at really funny. I'm like, is there anything else wrong? And she said, well, we're just going to admit you to the hospital and let you speak with the doctor the following day. Once that was over with, within 6 days of being in the hospital, they finally told me I had sarcoidosis, but prior to that, they thought I had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is that condition that at that time Jackie Kennedy Onassis had passed away with. And then they later told me, you have sarcoid. So I asked the doctor, what is sarcoid? He said it's a medical mystery. Literally. Said you would have to live with it for the rest of your life, but it can be maintained by and through medications. Later in life, I found out, really, I think it was this year, that actually sarcoidosis is an inflammatory disease that attacks the immune system, and it has really attacked mine. But after I was diagnosed, I walked around for weeks stunned, and I felt like I was in a fog wondering what I was going to do. I did my own research and found that the disease can be managed with medications. My first round of medications was prednisone. Sarcoidosis had become my life. So many things were happening to me that I did not know what I was going to do. I was scared. During my beginning years, there was no medical help for me until I met an allergist who knew something about sarcoidosis. I felt some relief. I stayed on prednisone for years, and I got what they call the moon phase. I felt better after being off of the prednisone, but then I started seeing nodules on my arms and on my legs. My back itched terribly. Bruises were the next thing I noticed. My allergist sent me to a dermatologist. I'm like, thank God, he knew something about sarcoidosis because sarc was now in my skin. He put me on Plaquenil. So at this time, I was on prednisone and Plaquenil, but the Plaquenil seemed to be a miracle drug for me. It stopped some of the nodules from coming up. It stopped all the bruising that I always have. I still get bruising, but not as bad as I used to. By this time, I was feeling really down and discouraged. More health issues were coming to the forefront. I had my gallbladder removed, and I found out that the gallbladder is usually one of the first things that go if you have sarcoidosis. I wind up having a hernia repair. I had to change my diet because I developed some food allergies, dairy, eggs, and wheat at that time. I felt like I was falling apart physically and mentally, and I sought mental health counseling, which helped some. I needed something positive in my life. So I enrolled into college, and what a good choice that was for me. I excelled in my program, maintaining an A average, all the while I was still sick and having sarcoidosis. That got my mind feeling much better, and I was focused. I knew that I was going to be okay until I got sick again. This time it was awful. I had mono, bronchiectasis, H. pylori, my skin began to hurt, and more skin lesions appeared. All the while this was taking place, I was seeing an allergist, a dermatologist, a pain specialist, and a neurologist. Sarcoid was tearing my bodies into pieces. I now have osteoarthritis, degenerative disc disease, and degenerative thoracic spine, and I was just recently diagnosed with fibromyalgia. Several doctors told me that sarcoid did not cause the other issues I was experiencing, but to me, my gut instincts told me that sarcoid did have something to do with it. After being diagnosed with sarcoid 19 years later, I finished my bachelor's degree in 2013. My allergist stated he could no longer do nothing more for me and referred me to the SARC clinic in Indianapolis. There I was placed on methotrexate and gabapentin. I was feeling much better with these meds. While all this was happening, my oldest brother, who had a similar disease to me, was called polymyositis. He was my talking buddy. We would share our stories, talk about the types of medications we were taking because some of them were the same. We would talk every morning. He always called me when he took his medications because I was taking mine at the same time too. Having him as my talking buddy gave me an avenue to release some of my frustrations because I was able to have somebody to talk to. He was my support and I was his support. My inner strength was blossoming and I felt like I had taken control of my life and my health again. It was amazing, but unfortunately, my brother passed away in 2015. And I lost my best friend. My brother's death, however, sent my life into another direction. By this time, I was studying for my master's degree in liberal studies. So to honor his memory, I set out to do something unconventional. I started a support group, and my college coursework allowed me to do this as a class project. In researching how to have a support group, I came across an organization called Foundation for Sarcoidosis Research, and today we call it FSR, which is based out of Chicago. The information I needed to start a support group was very invaluable, and then I felt like I was in my own element. I was happy. My attitude was changing about sarcoidosis and how I was feeling good about it. God, my brother's spirit, and my need to talk about sarcoidosis spun into something wonderful. I was going to connect with others who were like me. Nothing was going to stop me, not even sarcoidosis. In 2016, with my mother's help, I started Sarcoidosis Fort Wayne Support Group, and I graduated with my master's. I've never been so happy to have something of importance except for my family. Last year, 2017, I asked my family doctor to refer me to the Cleveland Clinic, And that's because I felt like I didn't get enough care at the clinic in Indianapolis. I still need to have a PET scan. I really want that because I really want to know where all my sarcoid is. But for now, I guess I'll be okay. But during getting doctors in Cleveland Clinic, I now have a pulmonologist, a rheumatologist, a neurologist. I don't have the heart doctor yet. But at this time, I was also placed on leflutamide. And I have to say, I've been very fortunate enough that I have had good insurance that can help take care of my medical care. Over the years, to help me cope with my disease, as I prayed a lot, I talked with my brother, my children, my mom, and pops. They were my support. I could not have gotten through this journey without them. To help relieve stress, I frequently get massages, write poetry, listen to movies, listen to music, and get plenty of rest, which that's not always true. I recommend that if you do not have a hobby, find one. It makes a world of difference to have something positive to do. Gardening was my hobby of choice. By growing my own vegetables, gardening has helped me to change my eating habits. One way to build your strength is to get involved, especially with others who have sarcoidosis. With that strength, you can have a positive outlook on life as I do, and you don't think about the condition as much. And if your strength is bold enough, you can bring it to educate others on this disease. You can do this by starting a support group, lobbying your senators, making noise, and talking about it. If you are passionate, you can even start a fundraiser or a walkathon to raise monies for research. You may even want to become an ambassador for FSR. There are many ways to get involved and use your strength. Remember, you are not alone, and we are here to help. This year, I received an email from FSR. Kelly sent me the email inviting me to become an ambassador. So I am one of 2 ambassadors for FSR in the state of Indiana. I said yes. Training was in a couple of weeks, and I was sick again. I went anyway, and I was thrilled to be there. I met the ambassador who helped me with all the questions I needed when I started my support group. I was around other individuals that was like me, and it was amazing. I felt like I had made it home because now I had another avenue to talk with people. What I hope to accomplish with this ambassadorship is to continue to raise awareness, to promote support for others, and enlist others to help us in this journey to get sarcoidosis recognized as the rare disease that it is. Another very important piece that everyone with sarcoidosis should do is join the patient registry, because we need to know how many of us is out there, what kinds of conditions that we have, and things like that. Doctors everywhere need to be aware of what is out there so that individuals can get the help they need. It took me years to finally find doctors that knew what they were talking about and to give me good care. So every 3 or 4 months, I travel to Cleveland Clinic to see my doctors, to get tests, and they have been wonderful and very amazing to me, and I could never have had any doctors better than them. Now, I want you guys to repeat after me. I have sarcoidosis, but it doesn't have me. Stay positive, and thank you.